Good afternoon, folks. So, I have been doing some research after work when I got home today, because that's how dedicated I am as a YouTuber. First and foremost, if you like my content, you like what I do, I keep getting shouted at by several people in Discord and other places that I should be doing callouts before, so thank you very much if you are a Patreon subscriber. If you would like to support me, there is a link down below to get me a pint of your choosing. And also, the link to the Discord server is also down below. It's completely free. Please come and start talking to us about the hobby, about anything you want. On our Discord server, there is also places for you to discuss problems with your mental health, with things that are going wrong in your life. Anything that you want to share, big or small, I'm there to help. I'm there to say hello and drag you through the mire, my friend. That's what I'm there to do, right? Okay, so, moving on. I have had a bit more thought today on just what the hell is going on with the hobby. As far as I'm concerned, I would like to actually stand up for hobbyists in this. A few of you may have seen this over the past few days, right? So the Imperium is driven by hate, Warhammer is not. I would like to come out without any sort of backward step. This channel, and me, myself, I completely support this statement. Right? I completely support this statement because it does both the things I want Games Workshop to do. The Imperium is driven by hate. What that means is, yes, it's a grimdark setting. It will never not be a grimdark setting. It will always be grimdark. It will always be a place with no defined good guys. It will always be a place where we have a really big, we shine a light on really dark things. That's what Warhammer 40,000 is all about, and my video yesterday was exactly that. It was exactly that. It was exactly, this is what I want to see from Games Workshop. Now, this is a few days ago. This is from November the 19th, but I wanted to do a bit more investigation. I wanted to do a two-part video. Yesterday I had more stories in it than today's will. But I treat this as a Games Workshop story because, again, it's an ex-employee talking about stuff that Games Workshop are doing. So, when it says Warhammer is not, what they mean by that is the setting is full of hate, the hobby isn't, okay? They should say the hobby is not, rather than Warhammer. The hobby is not, right? Now, I agree with everything said here, for the most part. There are no goodies in Warhammer universe. Yep, none. Okay, fine, not a problem. I'm completely with you on that one. No goodies, yep, brilliant. Especially not the Imperium of Man. Yeah, it's fueled by hate. It is satire. Yes, it is satire. It's a satire on megalomaniacal governments and things like that, and holding other people down. Yes, okay, cool. Everything's a genocidal regime turned up to 11. Yes, that's exactly what it is, right? Again, I'm going to say we've said it before, but remind about what we believe in. This is the more social commentary stuff coming in, right? This is what they were saying last June. And then it says, if you come to a Games Workshop event or store to behave to the contrary, as in, if you want to start spouting Nazi ideology, things like that, including wearing the symbols of real-world hate groups, you will be asked to leave. We won't let you participate. We don't want your money. We don't want you in the Warhammer community. So, I think a lot of people, at least that I've been seeing, are getting very, I'm not going to use the word triggered, because, I hate the word, but I've been getting very affected by this comment. I don't see what's wrong with it, okay? I see the only thing I can see what's wrong with it is the application. So if somebody walks in with an iron cross, that's not Nazi symbology, right? It's not an ideological thing, all right? What I was saying yesterday is that Games Workshop take the symbols like that and they put them into their own setting, and so we can't then judge somebody for walking in with a Black Templar t-shirt on, right? Because people will say, that looks pretty Nazi to me, right? That's what people will say. They will say, that looks pretty Nazi to me. But as long as you can reliably make it Black Templars, so it's obvious it's Black Templars, no one's going to say a fucking thing. Let's be honest, right? And if they do, they're assholes. Fuck them. But I don't see anything wrong with this particular statement. Okay, if you come to an event wearing a Nazi T-shirt, if you come to an event wearing, a T-shirt with a quote from Mein Kampf on it, then yeah, they're gonna ask you to leave. But what I will say is that if someone comes to an event with a Che Guevara T-shirt, if someone comes to an event with a T-shirt with a picture of Lenin or Stalin on it, they should also be asked to leave, right? What they're saying here is real world hate groups. If someone walks in with a Black Lives Matter T-shirt on, they should be asked to leave. If somebody walks in with an Antifa T-shirt on, they should be asked to leave. But they won't be, will they? Because these rules are not enforced down the middle. They're not, right? In my opinion, they should be, right? The hobby isn't a place for you to come spouting your bullshit ideologies, okay? Come and enjoy the hobby. Come and enjoy how fucking grim, dark, and horrible it is. Right? That's great. That's great. And even enjoying things that have a real inspiration from real world politics and history, that's fine. That's fine. As long as you can draw a line in the sand between what's real and what isn't. Right? For instance, I write a lot of settings where real-world ideologies and politics play a role in defining things that are in my world, because that's really interesting. That doesn't mean I support what those ideologies mean. Okay? Right? If you are the kind of person who looks at Warhammer 40,000 and thinks that is an affirmation that you're now okay to be an outright, communist who thinks everyone who disagrees with you should be in a gulag, or you're an outright Nazi who thinks that everyone who disagrees with you should be in a fucking gas chamber, you're an asshole. You're just an asshole. Warhammer doesn't say that. Warhammer isn't about that. That's exactly what it's not about. It's satire, right? And if you can't see the difference, then you're just as bad as the woke brigade. You're just as bad as them. You're just as bad as the people who see things in everything, right? Because what you're doing on the far left and the far right, okay? The far left are seeing Nazis and really problematic quote unquote stuff in Warhammer 40,000, right? They're seeing that everywhere. But if you're on the far right, so are you. If that's what you identify from the Warhammer 40,000 universe, you're doing exactly the same thing but from the other side. Fuck both of you. Get out the hobby, right? That's what I would say, right? Now, as I've said, I even said it in Discord yesterday, I've had people in my store who have been outright Nazis, right? Who've been outright nationalists, who have been outright really, really staunch, how they have those points of views. They've taken me aside and they've said, look, when I've picked up on something that they've done, and they've taken me aside and said, look, these are my ideologies. If you don't want me to say anything in the store, that's fine. That's brilliant. That's what I want. Look, if you're somebody who walks around with a copy of Mein Kampf in your bag, and you read it on the train every day, I don't give a shit. As long as you come to my store and you don't start trying to convert my customers, I don't give a shit, right? But the thing is, if you come to my store wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt or an Antifa T-shirt or any sort of far right group T-shirt, you're actively promoting that ideology in my store. I don't want it. Go fuck yourself. Get out. Right? That's my stance on this. That's my stance on this. So I don't see anything wrong with what Games Workshop have said here. What I do have an issue with is their implementation of what they say. Because I know it will not be like this for everybody across the board. What they're saying is, let me rephrase this for you. If you come to a Games Workshop event or store and behave as a member of the alt-right, including wearing the symbols of real-world alt-right groups, you'll be asked to leave. That's what they mean. That's what they mean. They don't mean hate groups across the board. They don't. They don't. Can you really see someone with a Che Guevara t-shirt or an openly Leninist or Stalinist t-shirt walking into a Games Workshop store and being asked to leave? I can't. I can't. I would. But I can't see that being that way across the board. It just wouldn't. You wouldn't. They wouldn't see it as worth the hassle. Right? Because, let's be honest, if somebody who promotes Nazi ideology walks into a store and is asked to leave, and then goes on the internet and says, oh, I was asked to leave Games Workshop store because I was wearing my Hitler t-shirt. people would go, yeah, and, right? But if somebody goes online and says, I walked into the Games Workshop store and I wore a Lenin t-shirt because I believe in certain parts of communist ideology and I was asked to leave, people would be up in fucking arms. They would be really fucking annoyed. And it's not worth, to them, it's not worth them calling this down the middle like they should. And I hate hypocrisy, and I wish they would just say what they mean. I really wish Games Workshop would just come out and say what they mean, to be honest. Right. And that's basically all that they had to say. That's all they had to say. This is about somebody in Spain, by the way, walking in. And this is where I want to come on down on the side of the hobbyist. Right? This is where I want to really come down on the side of the guys in the hobby, of you guys watching the video. You guys are spectacular people. You really are. This is the best hobby you could ever be involved in. As somebody who wants to be welcomed in. Somebody who wants to be shown a really cool, fun time. The people that spoil it for everybody else, they are in the vast minority. They are in such a minority, but they are very vocal and they are very visual because of what they are, which is why I was talking about them yesterday. But this is an absolutely amazing hobby, and do you know why? This story from Games Workshop came out because somebody went to an event in Spain with Nazi ideology on their t-shirt and on their bag and on their person, right? They were then asked to leave, and they refused to do so unless the police were involved, which is a douchebag move, because they knew that wearing Nazi ideology in Spain is not illegal, so he couldn't be removed, right? So, do you know what the gamers did at that tournament? They refused to play him. They took 20-0 losses. They tanked their own scores at the tournament because they refused to play this douchebag. That's the kind of hobby we have. That's the kind of people who are in the hobby. And these are the kinds of people that I want my kids to play around. I want my kids to be brought up in the hobby beside these people. These absolute fucking diamonds. And 99% of the people in the hobby are this way. I want to say that categorically. That's what I believe, because that's what I've seen. I have a lot of stories about Games Workshop, about cringy customers, about customers who have been out there, about customers who spoil it for everybody else, because they're interesting stories. That's why bad news sells. Bad news sells, right? What I don't normally put on are the tons and tons of really cool stories that I've had at Games Workshop over the years, of really cool interactions with hobbyists that I've had over the years. Because bad news sells. But I'm telling you now, categorically, statement from the channel. This is an actual, full-on statement from the Northern Exile channel. Warhammer and its communities are fucking awesome. Almost to a man and a woman. Almost. Almost. People who say that... I did see a comment yesterday. Sorry, it's coughed. I did see a comment yesterday. I'm going to pull it up. Because whilst I liked it, I also disagree with it a little bit as well. Let's see if I can find you. Probably the only female who watches my channel. I'm such a bad YouTuber. Okay, I'll get over the Lotus Tattoo, right? Now, I agreed with this, like 90 odd %, right? And that's what she said. The biggest issue with the current online narrative is that these edgelords are flooding the game. That's beyond not the truth. I agree. They exist because they are 0.0001% of the community. I disagree with that. Mainly because, as my job for years, and as someone who plays the hobby a lot, as I'm sure she does as well, I came across a lot of it in my store. Okay, like I would come every now and again, at least once every couple of weeks, I would have to like pull someone aside and say, that's not cool, right? That's not cool. You need to not wear that in the store. You need to take that and leave. You need to not espouse those views in the store. You need to take that and leave. And I would do it the same for both sides, right? Anyone who came in, and even if it was religious, if someone was coming in espousing religious point of view, that I run a small Games Workshop store. I'll stand outside a fucking church and say that, not in where I'm selling little plastic models, okay? This isn't the place. Go away, right? every week. Every other week, I'd have to say that. So I think it's more prevalent than what you're saying. I really do. I would say it's at least 2 to 3% of people in the hobby share views that are quite problematic, and I hate using that word. But again, if you do share views that are quite problematic, that doesn't mean they're problematic to me personally, right? Because I would actually define myself as a right-leaning centrist. I don't give a shit what you believe or what your opinions are. That's your right. You go for it. If you wanna be a big fan of Nazi ideology, you go for it. If you wanna be a massive communist who hates every single form of progress in the world, you go for it. That's up to you. I don't mind. But don't come into my hobby store trying to tell other people that they should think the way that you do, either by the way that you dress or the way that you talk. Don't do it. Go fuck yourself. This isn't the place, right? Because I have kids in the store who are very impressionable, and they should make up their own mind. Which is why I'm also against, churches on a grand scheme of things. I don't want to take my kids to church. I want them to figure things out for themselves. I want to give them all the information that I can and have them make their own decision when they come of age. I don't want to brainwash them. I want to let them be kids. Let the kids like Warhammer. Please. Shut the fuck up. Go away. Let the kids like Warhammer. That's my advice to things like this, okay? And I felt I needed to come on and clarify a few things, okay? Also, yesterday, I was saying things about the right-leaning, because I'm right-leaning, right? So I would say things about right-leaning, and it was a verbal typo. Like, I was accrediting that to things that are really far right, and I shouldn't have done that. That was ridiculous. But that's just the way I talk. Sometimes I say things and I don't edit, so because I'm really fucking lazy. But that is what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Is that I believe 97 to 98% of this hobby are awesome people, and I believe firmly that is a really good ratio. That is a really good ratio. And by the way, if you do have far right leanings or far left leanings, you're not in that 2 to 3%. There's the mind blower. You're not in that 2 to 3%. Unless you go to events wearing iconography and to talk to people about politics and how they should follow your ideology and not anyone else's, right? Then you are in that 2 to 3% and go fuck yourself. But if you hold those views, you're welcome in the hobby, dude. Like, I don't get why Games Workshop have to draw the line so, right? The only way you can convince people to not think in ways that you don't agree with is to listen to them. And talk to them. And let them in. And show them how cool things are on your side of the fence. Right? You need a mental Berlin when the wall was there, right? People were trying to flee from the east side of the wall to the west side of the wall, not the other way around. Because they saw how fucking cool it was over there. That's what you need to do. And that's the only part of the Games Workshop statement I really disagree with. Number one, they're not going to apply it down the line. And number two, by kicking people out just for how they think. Sorry, but like, that's not how you win people over. It just isn't. It just isn't. Okay, that is not how you win people over at all. So, whilst I agree with their sentiment, if you come to our events and you espouse Nazi or far left or far right leaning ideologies, then you're not welcome. I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Yeah. But what they're really saying is, let's be honest, if you hold these views, don't bother turning up. And I don't agree with that. At all. At all. Right? If you hold these views, feel free to do whatever the fuck you want in life, because you're free to do what you want. Games Workshop are a company, and they're not a moral company. Before I even go any further. Games Workshop are not a moral company, and they shouldn't be telling you how to think or act. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Make your little models, sell them over at outrageous prices, and shut the fuck up. Right? Now, that's all I have to say on that. Okay? if you have far right or far left leaning ideologies, and I'm ever running an event or I'm ever doing a Northern Exile event, feel free to turn up, dude. You're more than welcome to come and talk to me and have fun at whatever event I'm putting on. And you're more than welcome to come and enjoy the hobby. What you're not welcome to do is come and espouse your ideologies, because it ain't the place, right? Warhammer is a place where we make fun of ideologies like yours, where we laugh in the face of hate and shit like that, right? Because we're very morose, mostly British people. That's where Warhammer comes from. It's a very British setting, right? That's what we do. We laugh in the face of shit like that. Nothing phases us. We're cool. We're fans of Warhammer. Nothing phases us, dude, okay? Just don't come into our nice place where we have this cool thing and try to twist it. No matter what side of the fence you're on. Don't come in and try to twist it for your own ends. If Games Workshop came out and said that, I would have no issue with anything that they're saying. But that's not what they're saying. Right? They're saying come to any events dressed inappropriately and we'll kick you out. I agree with that. But I don't believe for 1 second that it'll be adjudicated fairly. And I don't think for 1 second that they would stop at what you're wearing. Right? If you ever said anything online that argued your point that you were a far right person, and they found out about that, do you think you'd be welcome at any of these events? No, you'd be blacklisted. That's wrong. That's wrong. Right? As long as you're not harming anyone, as long as you're not goading anyone into joining your side of the fence, Warhammer's a place for you to go and roll dice, have fun, and look at people's really cool models that they painted. Right? It's not your soapbox. That's all I've got to say on that. Not very controversial, I know, but I just thought it needed clarifying. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. If you like what I do, Patreon's down there. Get me a beer. And next time, I promise you, we'll be going over the pay scale of Games Workshop. It'll be this Friday. I haven't done so far because things keep popping up that I want to talk about that are really quick to do. So, I'll speak to you guys then, and have a good day.